Ve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvisheshai Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deshatarine, Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shilpa Mataji, do I have to make anyone co-host for Shloka?
No, Mataji. I'll be there today, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much. So today's chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. So this is a very interesting chapter. In fact, most of us are very fascinated by the word yoga, right? Because yoga, everyone is doing yoga. The whole world actually is doing yoga. We have a yoga day also. So what is this yoga actually all about? So Krishna is going to talk about that. And this is Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6. And Krishna is actually going to tell us what is yoga, real yoga, okay? Because yoga is anyway connecting with the Lord. And today we are going to learn about Ashtanga Yoga, which everyone is practicing or everyone is trying to practice. So what is this whole yoga about? So, is this yoga? And this looks like yoga, right? Because most of the time when we understand yoga, we understand that there are sadhus who go to the Himalayas and then they do all these bodily exercises or asanas and postures which look very complicated, which look very difficult for an ordinary person. And so many times, we are not interested because we think, who can do all this, right? Who can go to the Himalayas and who can bend the body like this? So is this yoga? So what is yoga? So look at this, because this is yoga, isn't it? The headstand and all that. And most of us, 95% or 99% of us can't do this yoga. So why is Krishna telling something which people can't do? So is spirituality meant for someone, for a very few? So is it the privilege of the very few, right? And is it not available to the masses? So this thought comes to our mind because most of us will reject this yoga. We may appreciate it, but we can't really do, right? So is this yoga or is this yoga? Because even this person is collecting some coins. If you see, there is a mat here where he's collecting coins from people in the name of yoga. So is this yoga? Because when someone says, I'm doing yoga, and he does this sort of an asana, we think it is yoga, but actually this is cheating. Because if you see, there is, even though he's buried his head in the ground, it is covered by gravel, right? There is these loose rocks. So there is air, a little bit of air is there. Of course, you and I can't do it, but still, there is a possibility. It's not that there is no air, so this person is breathing. So what is he doing? He's actually trying to make money in the name of yoga. So is this the yoga that Krishna is talking about? Or is this yoga? Now, this is very famous. We all see, everywhere yoga mats are being sold and people are doing this yoga at homes and offices and in places where yoga is being taught. Everyone, is doing some sort of an exercise like this. So is that yoga? So this question is coming again and again. Is this yoga or is this yoga? Because even this is very popular. This is called beer yoga. You can actually Google it out. You can write beer yoga, very famous. So if you actually want to drink, why don't you sit and drink? Why do you want to bring yoga? Why do you want to bring Krishna in between, right? So Krishna, so this chapter, we are going to actually understand what is real yoga, what is Ashtanga yoga, because today yoga has become a business. So I can do any form of yoga. I can actually make a goat stand on my body, and then I call it goat yoga. And even this is there. This is not like something, this picture is taken. If you type, there is something called goat yoga. There is also, in the office, people do yoga. So there is some office yoga. And then you also have yoga for physical and mental health, yoga for pregnancy, chair yoga. So many forms of yoga. So which yoga should I do? Because when I see all this, I get so confused, right? For success in business, do yoga. Okay, for desktop, back care, and tennis, and then again, office, and then weight loss. I mean, weight loss, eat less, move more. As simple as that. No, but I will complicate and I will say, no, bring in yoga because yoga sells, right? So Krishna is popular. So in the name of Krishna, I can sell all this and make a lot of money. So let us understand what is yoga. So what is Ashtanga yoga? Because actual yoga, which these people are trying to sell in the market is Ashtanga yoga. So what is this Ashtanga yoga? It is 8 limb. Ashta means 8 and Anga. Okay, it's 8 limbed yoga, and yoga is connection. Okay, so yoga is connecting. Connecting with whom? Connecting with Krishna. Okay, so it has got all these 8 parts. It starts with Yama, Niyama, Asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, and dhyana. Okay, and finally you get samadhi. And then there is union with the Lord. So let us look at each of these parts. So it starts with Yama. What is Yama? External discipline. Okay, so you have to have a lot of discipline. It is not that I live a life whimsically and then I practice yoga. It will not work. So I have to have external discipline. I also should have internal discipline, which is called niyama. Okay, so if I tell all the niyamas, half my students will run away. My customers will run away. So nobody's talking about all this. They just talk about a few asanas. So we have heard of this. Yoga for most of us is all these asanas or posture. So for us, yoga means asana and pranayama. So yes, we know these two parts, but we don't know the others, right? So there is breath control, and then there is pratyahara, that is withdrawal of the senses. Then there is dharana, it is concentration. So, and then there is dhyana, meditative absorption. So whom are you concentrating? Not on some light, not on some candle. Okay, you have to meditate on the Lord who's sitting in our heart. So Paramatma. Okay. So the moment I say Krishna is sitting in your heart and you have to meditate on Krishna, who is interested, right? In fact, if I say you have to meditate on Krishna, I will lose 99% of the population. Okay. So I will not even talk about Krishna. And finally, when I do this dharana and dhyana, I reach samadhi. So the whole purpose of yoga is to reach this stage, samadhi, which is union and integration with the Lord. So when I start yoga, the whole process of yoga is to see the Lord face to face. Okay. So if I tomorrow open a yoga class and I say, fine, we're going to do yoga. And at the end of yoga, what is going to happen? You will be able to see Krishna. Will anyone come? Right? So no one will come. So it has become a business of the cheater and the cheated. So I just take apart, asana, pranayama, and I sell yoga like this, okay, without understanding the whole purpose of yoga. So it's a business between the cheater and the cheated. The cheated are fit to be cheated. So that's why they get a guru like that. So they go to these yoga classes. Nobody's really serious about Krishna, even though the whole purpose of this Ashtanga yoga is to see the Lord face to face. So there are all these 8 paths, right? So what are these 8 paths? First is Yama. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. So it's not that I can live in my house, I can sit in an apartment or in a city and practice this form of yoga. Ashtanga yoga, no. I have to go to a secluded place. I have to sit alone and I have to follow all the rules and regulations, okay? So then is Niyama. What is Niyama? Temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. So I can't sit and eat all this dal, rice, chapati at home. I can't eat cooked food because if I go to the forest, where is all this, right? So I have to live on some root or some leaf. And if I'm lucky, I may get some fruit, right? So how can we even think of doing this? Because first of all, where are the forests, right? Most of us would not have really seen a real forest. And then going there and doing all this looks quite impossible, right? But that's the way. If you want to do Ashtanga yoga, you have to follow the process. And then there is asana. What is this? Lay kusa grass on the ground and then cover it with deer skin. Why are we covering it with deer skin? Because deer skin, it's not that you kill a deer. Many times, usually when people follow this form of Ashtanga yoga, they went to the forest and ashramas were in the forest and there were a lot of these dead deers and all that, right? So the deer skin is used because it repels insects, because I can't be sitting and meditating and I can't think, oh, where is the mosquito coil, right? So there are insects, so I should not be disturbed. So deer skin, and the seat should neither be too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. Too high, it becomes very comfortable. Too low, it becomes very painful. So it should be medium and I should sit on that and it should be situated in a sacred place. Where are the sacred places left? Okay. And when you're talking about kusa grass also, what is this grass? Most of us would not even get this. And then one should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. So we have to be straight and stare at the tip of the nose, because if I close my eyes, I may sleep, right? So it should not be open also because I will be distracted. So, that half meditative posture and staring at the tip of my nose, thus with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me. So you should be without fear. Very important. We're also fearful. And when you're there in the forest, not only mosquitoes, there are snakes. And if you see, there is a tiger lurking behind, right? So you should not be bothered about the tiger, right? So it's not like a safari where you are on a vehicle which is covered and caged, and so you can see the tiger. The tiger can pounce on you, you know that, but you're not scared, right? So with all that, you should meditate on the Lord. Next is pranayama. Practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance. And pratyahara, that is cessation of material existence. So you cannot do any of your regular material activities. Dharana disciplines his mind activities and becomes situated in transcendence. Devoid of all material desires, he is said to have attained yoga. And in dhyana, as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. And finally, samadhi, one is never shaken even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so we don't understand that. So we have just heard a little bit about yoga and we think that is yoga, but this is Ashtanga Yoga. And Krishna says, this is what you'll have to do if you want to do yoga. So now the question is, are you willing to give this yoga system a try? So how many of you would actually want to do this? It looks very fascinating, right? And many of us would actually want to do it. So, let us look at what did Arjuna say. Okay, what did Arjuna say? What is Arjuna's answer? So before looking into what Arjuna said, look at Arjuna's qualifications. Okay, he is trained in an ashram. All right, so he lived in a forest right from childhood. Even though he was a prince, he's accustomed to staying in a forest. Not only that, he was the greatest archer. So even here, right, when he had to shoot the eye of the bird, so much of concentration and steadiness. And even during the Swayamvar, he could shoot the target, moving target, just by looking at its reflection. And then he also had this vanvas and agyatavas, right? And because of which he could stay in the forest. Now, most of us, we can't even think and going out and living in a forest. A day outside the house itself is so difficult for us. The heat is there, the sun is there, the rain is there, right? Many people go for trekking and all that, right? And they think it's a great adventure. But then you tell them to live like that forever, very difficult, right? For a day, for a weekend, for a week, it's good, but not otherwise. So this is Arjuna's qualification. And this Arjuna, what does he say? Not only that, he's got more qualifications, okay? He's given a good fight to Lord Shiva over the boar, who then presented him all these astras, the Pashupastra Astra. So this is Arjuna's qualification, not an ordinary person. And he's also the eternal companion of the Lord. So this is Krishna, Nar Narayan. Okay, so in the Nar Narayan Rishi, this Nar is Arjuna. Okay, Narayana is the Lord and Nar is Krishna, Arjuna. So this is his qualification, not an ordinary person, eternal associate of the Lord. And this Arjuna, what does he say?
Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavat dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaraha.
For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So we think, this Bhagavad Gita is not for today's world. It's not practical. It is the Lord and this Arjuna, all this, so it's all mythology. Look at Arjuna. What does he say? We may even think of trying this form of yoga, but Arjuna says, hey, Krishna, not possible. Krishna, I can't do this. The mind is restless. Arjuna is telling his mind is restless. What about our minds? Look at his qualification. 5,000 years back, Arjuna has rejected this form of yoga. He says, no way, Krishna, I can't do. I can control the elements. I can control the wind if you want. And he did have all these weapons, right? He could control the wind. He could cause rain and all that. He says, I can control the elements, but I don't think I can control my mind. So practical, and we think Bhagavad Gita is not practical. Arjuna straight away, and mark of a great man. Even though he wants, he can actually, but he says, no, Krishna, I don't think it's possible. I can control all this wind and all that, but I don't think I can control the mind because the mind is very, very difficult to control. Arjuna is accepting.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Asamyamya Mahabaho Manodurnigrahanchalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate.
The Blessed Lord said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. So Krishna is here. He knows because he's our maker. He knows our problem. He says, yes, it's very difficult, Arjuna. I know it's very difficult, but it's not impossible. Okay, so there could be a certain portion of the population, those great yogis, they can do it. Okay, so it's not that it can't be done. It can be done, but yes, it is difficult. So you can do it by constant practice and detachment, but I do agree it is difficult. So now this controlling this mind is very, very difficult. Okay, so the mind is considered the sixth sense. We know of the five senses, right? So the sixth sense is the mind. So is the mind or a friend or an enemy? So it all depends. The mind is the best friend and the mind is the worst enemy, depending on whether we have controlled our mind or not. Okay, so how do you tame your mind? So this mind is considered like a tiger. Okay, so in the forest, right? In circuses now, there's no more those circuses. Where you have these animals, but otherwise, how do they tame these tigers? You might have seen on TV or on old, this videos. The tiger is there, and it does everything what the trainer tells him to do. Jumps, gives it a paw, gives a shake hand, and does all these things. So how is it possible that this ferocious tiger is tamed? How they catch a tiger is, of course, they catch a tiger in the forest, and then how do they tame him? What do they do is they then put him in a cage and they starve him for a week. No food at all for the tiger. Now, this ferocious tiger is caught. He's so angry. He's caged. So you can just imagine this powerful animal is put in a cage. And on top of that, there is no food. So naturally, first day, 2 days, he's angry, he's roaring and all that. Nobody's bothered and nobody's giving him food. After a week, this huge tiger, which is ready to kill anyone, is so weak, okay, because it's not eaten for a week. So then what happens is the hunter, the trainer comes and he takes a whip and it starts first whipping the tiger mercilessly. Now the tiger is so weak that it can't really pounce. And the moment it tries to pounce, here is this man with a whip, okay? So he's whipping it again and again. And now the tiger just feels so helpless. He just feels that now he's at the mercy of this trainer. And so he's just not doing anything. And then finally, this trainer throws a piece of meat and this tiger eats the meat. And then it thinks and it understands that this man is my God. Okay, this man can either kill me or he can make me live. So I have to obey this man. And then slowly, jump from here to there, sit on the chair, give me your hands, shake hands. The tiger does everything. Why? Because now it is tamed. Okay. Now the problem with us is our mind is also a tiger. Okay, untamed. All right. Till now, for millions of births, nobody has controlled it. So naturally, it just does whatever it wants. It thinks all these crazy things, and then the senses act on it, right? So, mind is totally uncontrolled. So, Krishna tells that, the mind, if the mind is controlled, then it is the best of friend. But if the mind is not trained, then it's the worst of enemies.
बन्धुरात्मानमस्तस्य येनात्मनः चितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तते आत्मैव शत्रुवत्.
For him who has conquered his mind, the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. Now, Arjuna has this very interesting question. He is asking, Krishna, what is the destination of someone who fails in achieving success in yoga? Okay, Krishna, you're telling me all this yoga, connecting to you and all that. So I start this life of spirituality. I'm reading Bhagavad Gita. I've started chapter 6. And then you are telling me to chant. And then I'm doing a little bit of chanting. But then it's not that right that I'll reach your lotus feet. So what happens to someone who is there in between? Okay, I am neither materially there, neither am I spiritually there. Okay, somewhere in between. I've started the process, but I've not completed, and I'm not purely completely cleansed. So what happens to such a person? So Krishna says, don't worry. There are 2 supplementary exams. Okay, so in the college also you have these supplementary exams, right? For someone who has failed. So yes, you have failed, but then you have not failed completely. So you have got some marks. So these 2 supplementaries are there for such people. One is for someone who gets very good marks, okay, but not 100, all right? So the 6.42, the lower one. So he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Verily, such a birth is rare in this world. So suppose I get out of 100 marks, I get around 70 or 80 marks. Okay, so I cannot go to Krishna's lotus feet with 70 and 80. I have to be completely purified. I need 100 marks. Okay, so there is no in between over here. So if you get 70 and 80, what do? Then Krishna says, fine, you can't come back to me, but then I'm giving you this privilege. And what is that? Immediately you get a birth in a family of spiritualists. Okay, so this family, which of great transcendentalists. So what happens is, for the child, they immediately catch it up. And haven't we seen this? There's so many people that we come across that they are already born in a family which has this knowledge. For most of us, Bhagavad Gita is so new. Our parents didn't know about it. Maybe our grandparents didn't know, right? And somewhere, we just knew, okay, Krishna is there, Bhagavad Gita is there, but what is there, we don't know. So now Krishna says, offer me food. But there's so many people who are born in families where food is offered to the Lord every day. So the child practically in the womb of its mother has been eating prasad, right? For us, this prasad looks very new. For the child over there, he knows food has to be offered. So it's nothing new. For us, it's like, oh, this is new. We have to offer food. Who told? Nobody told. Now Krishna is telling. So it looks very strange. Looks a little difficult for us to start. And by the time we practice, it takes some time. But if you are very fortunate, you're born straight away in a family where already Bhagavad Gita is there. The mother may be reciting the Bhagavad Gita, but even when the child is there in the womb, the child is listening to the shlokas. There is already an altar with the Lord, right? And the food is offered. And the family already has this knowledge, right? And they're practicing it. This knowledge is practiced knowledge. This Bhagavad Gita has to be practiced. So, it is practiced in the family. So for the child, there's nothing new. Already he's chanting, already he's this thing. So just imagine, for that child, the spiritual progress is going to be so much faster because you're already getting it in the childhood itself. So this birth is very, very rare. It's very, very great to be born in a family of transcendentalists. Again, it is not luck. So, Krishna, you're partial, you put someone over there. No, based on his karmas, right? So he lived a pious life, tried to progress in the path of spirituality. And Krishna rewards such a soul by being, again, born in a family of great transcendentalists so that the spiritual journey can begin faster. Okay, now I'm not there. Okay, I'm not so fortunate. So I'm somewhere in that 35, 40, 50 mark. So what happens to me? 6.41. After many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. This birth is second class. Okay, it's not really very nice as much as the first, as being born in the family of transcendentalists. 6.42. 6.41, yes, you have done good activities. So Krishna never forgets. Okay, if we do some pious activity, if we do anything, for example, today we are studying chapter 6. Now, Krishna will never, ever forget, even in a billion birth of ours, that we have read this. Okay, so our marks, this credit has gone to us. Okay, so after 6 chapters, suppose I don't attend 7th chapter, I don't attend 8th chapter, never mind. Why? Krishna will still keep this credit for me forever, and not for this birth, for my births to come. Okay, so my next birth, again, I'm not starting from 0. Okay, so whatever marks, some 2 marks or 3 marks that I'm getting for this I'll go with this. Okay, so it's never lost. So that's why when we do anything for Krishna, it is never ever lost. In the material world, if I do even a small thing, till I don't succeed, till I don't pass, I will not get the result, right? Nobody is going to give me marks for just attempting or half-hearted or going somewhere in between. See, in the Olympics, the medal is given only to the gold goes to only the first place, right? And maybe the second and the third. Afterwards, even though other 20, 30 people who were there, they go empty-handed. So that is the way material life is. But Krishna will not forgive even that small seva that we do. So he remembers. And as a result, what does he do? He gives us chance to go first to the heavenly abodes, okay, to enjoy life. Now, what happens? Life over there is very, very long. We have understood that, right? Life of Brahma, 1 second is equal to 1 lakh years of earth, right? So his 4 seconds are equivalent to 4 lakhs, right, of material earth calculation. Because in the heavenly kingdoms, the life is very long. So the time duration is very long, right? So you will go there and you will enjoy, but you can't stay forever. Okay, so once your punya gets over, you will come back. And when you come back, you're born in a pious living in a pious family. Many of us are born into demoniac families. Our parents are demoniac. I mean, we don't accept it, but if you look at the activities, because Krishna later on talks about demoniac activity, demoniac nature and divine nature. And when we see that, actually, we are all demoniac. Okay, so we are born in such families. So naturally, cat's child is a cat only, right? So demon's child is also a demon. So Krishna nicely puts all these people together. But because we have done some pious activity, Krishna will put you in a family which is pious. To be born in a pious family in Kali Yuga itself is great, where there is no meat eating, where there is no intoxication, gambling and all that is very rare. Even today, where will you get such families? Even if I want, it's very difficult. But no, Krishna will still find a family so that your parents are nice, so that you also don't get into sinful activities. So you're born in a pious family or in a rich family. Now, what's the benefit of being born in a rich family? See, when you're born in a rich family, you can still degrade. It's not that just because you're born in a rich family, you will get Krishna. No, but the chance of getting Krishna could be a little higher because you do not have to do this ugra karma. You don't have to work so hard to maintain your body, right? So when you don't have any money, then all your life, all your energy goes in just working and doing hard labor. So where is the time to listen to Bhagavad Gita? Where is the time to chant, right? So it may be difficult, right? So it could be difficult. So Krishna makes it a little easier for you. So it gives you birth in a rich family. So because maybe it's a rich family, so what happens is there could be an altar, there could be some Bhagavad Gita here and there, and also there could be a little bit more time than the others. Of course, this time you could actually use it in sinful activities also, being rich, and many people do that. But still, some concession is there, some benefit is there, right? So Krishna gives you this supplementary. So Krishna is very merciful. So he gives us these two supplementary to start off our spiritual life all over again. So we are born again. Okay. But the second one, 6.42, is much better because you don't go to heaven and waste your time. Going to heaven and coming down is wastage of time. Anyway, it's a toilet. Earth is a toilet. Hell is a toilet. Heaven is also a toilet. It's just like A class, B class, C class toilet, or an A class, B class, C class prison. At the end, it's a toilet or a prison. So what should you do in a toilet? You should just go and finish your business and come out. So Krishna is not recommending going to heavens and doing all this. So best is this. Best is to get out itself. This birth. This birth should be our last birth. But what to do? Not possible. Then 6.42, go, be born in a family of transcendentalists, or born in a pious family, or rich aristocracy. So now who is a yogi? Okay, so now this question is, because we are studying about yoga, we're studying about Ashtanga yoga. So who is the greatest yogi? This question may come to our mind, right? Because we have studied different forms of yoga. We have studied karma yoga. We also have studied Dhyana yoga. Today we are studying about Ashtanga yoga. And finally, Krishna is always telling bhakti, right? So all other yogas are progression towards the destination of bhakti yoga. So all of us start with karma yoga. That's the first. Okay, that's the easiest to do because we have to do some work. So what should we do then? We should do our work for the pleasure of Krishna. So it may not be possible initially. So we start with sakama karma and then we go to nishkama karma. So from karma yoga, what happens is I understand, yes, when I offer the results of my fruits to the Lord, I get purified. And because I get purified, my mind is getting cleansed. I may want to study more about the Lord. So then I open the Bhagavad Gita. I open the scriptures and then I get jnana. I get knowledge about the Lord. And once I get knowledge about the God, there's this desire to see the Lord, right? So then I go to the forest and perform Ashtanga yoga. And the whole purpose of Ashtanga yoga is to go to the forest or sit and meditate and see the Lord face to face. And when I see the Lord face to face, what happens? I then know, yes, Krishna, you're there and I want to serve you. And then you do Bhakti Yoga. So finally, it is Bhakti Yoga. So all these yogas are gradual progression towards Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. Now, what's the problem with Karma Yoga is the Karma Yoga, we could get attached to the fruits because who wants to give it to Krishna? So this desire to enjoy the fruits of your labor for your own sense gratification is there. So that's the problem with Karma Yoga. Dhyana Yoga, the problem or the limitation is that even though the Shastras are saying something, I understand as per my capacity. So I may start speculating. So my mental speculation may also interfere in the understanding of Dhyana. What is the problem of Ashtanga Yoga? Now, Ashtanga Yoga, the problem is when I do Ashtanga Yoga, I get some powers. I get some siddhis. If you might have seen or observed, there are people who actually can do some superhuman tasks. Sometime on TV, I saw one man, yogi, he's eating a tube light. How can anyone actually eat a tube light? You can't actually eat and you can't digest it. But he could. Why? Because when you do Ashtanga Yoga, you definitely get some powers. They can go and stay in the Himalayas. They don't wear anything, right? So they don't have clothes. So they're just wearing that langot and they're sitting. So how is it possible? Because the body becomes strong and they do get those powers. So the problem is because I get these siddhis or powers, I may actually end up using it and getting these followers and displaying my power and start getting followers and money and all that. So instead of worshipping the Lord, instead of meditating on the Lord and doing service to Krishna, I may stop and I may fall. So bhakti is considered the topmost, and bhakti is also called Buddhi Yoga because it has got no limitations. Okay, so it has got the limitations of none of the other lower forms of yoga. So finally, Krishna says Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So what is bhakti? That we work. It's not that you're not working. Okay, so people think that bhakti means that person is not working. Actually, he's doing all the three. He's working for Krishna. He has the full knowledge of Krishna. And because he's meditating on the Lord, he also has all these powers. You know, it's not that he's sick and all that. He has everything, but he's using every resource that he has for the service of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. So a person who is spiritually inquisitive starts in the most basic type of service, which is karma yoga. As per his ability, he works for the Lord, plucking flowers for the Lord, cleaning the temple, making monetary donations, etc. While practicing this, he meets many jnanis and he gets involved in cultivation of jnana in Dhyana Yoga. He gradually starts to understand that he's not the body, Paramatma resides within his heart, and he wishes to realize this. For the realization, he moves to the forest and observes Ashtanga Yoga, as mentioned in this chapter. And once he achieves samadhi, he surrenders to Krishna and becomes a bhakta and involves in the highest practice yoga, that is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is also called Buddhi Yoga because it's the smartest of all yogas, as it has the merits of all the other yogas while having the limits of none. So Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is always telling us to come to Bhakti. Ultimately, he says Bhakti. In fact, from tomorrow onwards, the most important chapters start 7 to 12 because they are all pure Bhakti chapters. And of all the yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So who's the highest yogi? Who's a bhakta, okay? So who's worshipping the Lord 24 hours, who's serving the Lord 24 hours, okay? So that is called bhakti, someone who's following Bhakti Yoga, just like the Gopa boys. Now they are meditating on Krishna. They get up in the morning. The first thing that they think of is, oh, I have to go and I have to go with Krishna to graze the cows. But actually grazing the cow is just a excuse. The whole thing is to be with Krishna. So they go out and then they pack their lunches and they go and they meet Krishna and together they go to the forest. And then the whole day they're there with Krishna. They are happily playing with Krishna. They can't think of anything other than Krishna. And then they have all these activities. And in the evening, they're all going back to their homes. And again, when they go back, they're just talking about the whole day's activity. They're talking to their parents. Krishna did this today. Krishna did that today. And Krishna killed Bakasura. Krishna killed this some other demon. And then what happened? Then we had a rustling. And then I defeated Krishna. So actually, I am more powerful than Krishna. Okay, so basically, Krishna allows you to have this rasa. Krishna makes you forget that he is the Lord. So they have these beautiful pastimes with the Lord. They enjoy with Krishna. They're talking about Krishna once they're back. And they're dreaming of the next day. Next day, tomorrow, what new will we do? So 24 hours, they're meditating on Krishna. So that is called bhakti. Okay, bhakti is rendering service to the Lord and doing it 24 hours non-stop. For us, this 1 hour is so problematic. For us, when we offer bhoga, it is so difficult to wait for those 10 minutes for Krishna. For us to, go, for us, most of us, it is that 5 minutes, that we spend in front of the altar and we say, oh, Krishna, that's it. And I have done my prayers. No, Krishna is asking, look at Krishna. He wants complete, he doesn't want this in between. It is total, okay? This total surrender, total service to the Lord. That is what is called Bhakti Yoga, where you're meditating on the Lord, but you still don't know you're doing it. You think that, no, I'm having fun. It's not like pain for us. For us, this is painful. But for the bhakti, for the yogi, for the devotee, this is not painful. It comes as naturally as breathing. So now, yoga, spiritual practices, different yogas, different yoga practices.
कृते यध्यायते विष्णुं त्रेतायं यजतो मुखैः द्वापरे परिचार्यायं कलौ तद्धारि कीर्तनम्.
So different times, different ages, different yoga practices. So we start with, and this is according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam is telling different yoga practices for different ages. Okay, so it's not that same yoga practices for all the ages because time and place is different. Okay, so the quality of people are different. So different time, different practices. So in Satya Yoga, it was meditation on Lord Vishnu. So this form of Ashtanga Yoga is actually meant for Satya Yoga. because they could sit in the forest. They had very long lives. Okay. So they lived for 1 lakh years. So they could peacefully sit. Okay. For us to peacefully sit, even for this 1 hour, is very difficult because, you have to go and cook your breakfast. The child is crying, or, there's so many other things that are there. So our mind is so much harassed, right? For us to do this yoga is not possible. This was possible in Satyuga, where they could sit peacefully. They could sit peacefully. They did not have to labor like us, going to the office and earning money, because there is no money. There's so much of anxiety, so much, there is no food, there is no money, there is, so much. We are so stressed, right? So they didn't have all that. So they could peacefully, you can do this form of yoga very peacefully. So, and this could be done only in Satyuga. Okay, so very conducive for doing that form of yoga. And then in the Treta Yuga, they had to perform expensive sacrifice. So all these yagnas and homas and all are meant for Treta Yuga, because it is very expensive to do these yogas, to do these yagnas. First of all, you need all these ingredients, which are very difficult to get. In fact, most of it would not be available. And the basic ingredient is ghee, and ghee is so expensive. And then you need so many kilos, right? So of ghee for these homas, and every day. It's not that you forget Krishna, right? You do it every day. You worship the Lord not once on a Sunday or a Monday. You do it every day. So then it's very difficult. And another thing is, where are the qualified brahmanas? Because a brahmana is not based only on who can tell the shlokas, because to tell the shlokas itself is very difficult. And to have that consciousness, the purity, okay, the purity of thought, that is so difficult, right? Because in those times when the brahmanas chanted the shlokas, the sacrificial fire lighted by itself without any matchstick. So much of purity. So in Kali Yuga, all that is just not possible. And then in Dwapara Yuga, elaborate temple worship. Okay, so we are so poor. In Satyuga, in Kali Yuga, people are supposed to be the poorest. Okay, there is no riches. We consider ourselves very rich. Okay, but we are actually very poor compared to the previous standards, right? So very poor. Even, and many of us may think, oh, this is all mythology. But just look at India 300 years, 400 years back. I mean, it was the richest country, right? And we know that there are records, right? So of India being the richest country. And the traders who came, they said, there's nothing much that we can give these people, because everything they have, houses didn't have locks, right? And everything, it was rich. So wherever there is dharma, artha will follow. So anyway, the earlier times were much more richer to have all these elaborate worship of the Lord. And again, that is not possible. For us, even to go to a temple is very, very difficult. So in Dwapara Yuga, it was elaborate temple worship, not possible now. So what is there in Kali Yuga? In the Kali Yuga, it is just the chanting of the holy names. In Kali Yuga, the lifespan is very less. From 1 lakh, it reduced to 10,000 to 1,000 to only 100 years. And even in Kali Yuga, where are we living for 100 years? 70, actually above 50 is a bonus, right? And then after that, when you become sick, how much can you worship? You can't chant. You can't chant if you're sick, right? Your mind and your body has to be healthy to meditate on the Lord, to chant the holy names of the Lord. Only if you have been practicing in your younger age, you can do it at the older age. But if you have not done that, it is very difficult. So for us, life is very short. We are not intelligent. We can't understand all this. For us to understand this Bhagavad Gita is so difficult, right? We are very dumb, actually, by the Shastras, by what the Shastra says. This is the most fallen age, no intelligence, no bhagya, and no fortune, and no intelligence. So that's why the Shastras are written for Kali Yuga. Earlier, it was never written. They were so intelligent. It was only by Shruti. They said, and it was heard. They heard it and they understood it. Okay, so it was not like this. But Veda Vyas then recorded all the Shastras. He recorded all the Vedas. He recorded all the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is recorded for Kali Yuga, because these dumb people, even if they read, they will not understand. So let them keep reading, okay? And again, for Kali Yuga, we can't read so much. So Bhagavad Gita only is more than enough, right? Because it has got the essence of all the Vedas. So in this Kali Yuga, then what should these people do? These unfortunate people do? Krishna has made it very easy for them. They can't go to the forest. They can't do anything. So at least let them sit in their houses. They don't have to leave their house. They don't have to go to the Himalayas. They don't have to go to any sacred place. They don't have to perform yagnas. They don't have to do anything. They can sit and chant. Now, what is so difficult about that sitting and chanting? So Krishna tells, sit and chant, because you should not be giving an excuse. Because if you say Ashtanga Yoga, I can't bend my body. I can't go to the Himalayas. I'll give an excuse for everything. But who can give an excuse? Sit and chant. So simple. Now, if I can't do this, I'm really fit to be a dog, right? Because actually a dog can't chant. He can't say Hare Krishna. As a human being, this beautiful body Krishna has given, this beautiful mouth Krishna has given. For what? For chanting. So Kali Yuga, only chanting the holy names. So it is left to us. You want to take a lift or a staircase. If your office is on the 50th floor, it is intelligence to take a lift. So it's left to us. Do you want to do all those other processes which are so difficult?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Volume has come down, Mataji.
Yeah. Now?
Still low.
Wait, it's very low. Okay. Tashi, the volume is low. I'll just connect my. Just one second. Yeah. Is it okay now? Is my voice okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, audible.
Audible, Mataji, but it is low, Mataji.
It is still low. Okay. Is it because here somewhere?
You can hear okay. I mean,
Now it's fine.
not everybody
Now it's
has.
fine. It's okay. Was my actually volume very low even before this? I mean,
No.
No, Mataji.
All right. As soon as it goes low, just let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Just one second. We'll make the volume.
Just one second. Wait, I'll bring this down.
Stop sharing. I stop sharing.
What happened?
Now it's done. That's not working. I've disconnected the mouse.
Okay, from current. So it's left to us what we want to use, whether we want to lift or the staircase.
It's perfect, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, intelligence is, if you have the provision of a staircase, lift, why not, right? So intelligence is to use it. So Krishna has made it easy for us. Now, so why should we chant this mantra? Why should we chant this holy name of the Lord? So first of all, what is mantra? Okay, what is mantra? It comes from two words, man and tra. So man is mind, and tra is delivers the mind. It controls the mind. Okay, it is protecting the mind. It is controlling. This mind is otherwise like a lion, right? Or a tiger, which is untamed. Now, this untamed mind doesn't want to do anything right? It just wants to do whatever it feels like. So that is like, it's very dangerous. It's like giving a terrorist a very powerful thing, and now he may use it and destroy others, right? With that, so this mind is so strong, and if it is not in the right hands, it's a nice tool, but the same in the hand of an untrained mind is very dangerous. So how to control this mind? Because we all know now, Krishna is telling, no, the mind is your best friend or your worst enemy. So how do you train your mind? How does it become a best friend? By controlling it. And how do you control it? By chanting the mantra. So that's why we chant the mantra. It's not that Krishna wants the mantra. Just by me sitting and chanting Krishna's name, what is Krishna getting? First of all, my chanting is so sinful. I am not even interested in Krishna, right? So my quality of chanting is also so bad. So Krishna is not getting anything out of it. I am getting everything. Okay. It is Krishna's mercy that he has come in the name of the holy name. And why? Because I can control my mind. Because right now, my senses are doing all sorts of nonsense because the mind is not controlled. Okay, so we have to control the mind. So how do we control the mind? By this mantra. So there is japa. What is japa? We chant silently, okay, by ourselves. Not silently. When we chant by ourselves, it is called japa. So it has to be said a little loudly, okay? So it is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So what mantra? Because there's so many mantras, right? So which mantra? For Kali Yuga, this is the mantra, okay? So you can do it as a japa, or you can do it as a Sankirtan. What is Sankirtan? Sankirtan is when you do it in a group, okay? When a lot of people come together and they sing. And this is even more powerful. When it is done collectively, it is even more powerful, okay? So you can sing it along in a group of people. And this is very common, right? We do this bhajans. It's very common in our tradition. So we can do this, and this is called Sankirtan. So we can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, what is the scriptural evidence? What is it, how is it that I chant this mantra? So what are the scriptures telling about it? So let us understand a little bit more about it. So this is from the Narayana Sahita.
Vapareryajanairvino Vaicharatraistu kevalau Kalau tu nama matreya pujyate Bhagavan Harihi.
So this is Madhavacharya who's telling. He's telling in the age of Kali, people should simply chant the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in Kali Yuga, these people, unfortunate people, they don't have any of the capacity, the bodily capacity or the material capacity to do anything much. So in this age, people should just chant the holy names of the Lord. And then in the Kali Sankarana Upanishad,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nataparatarupaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate.
so this is Brahma, okay, Lord Brahma, who is telling, after searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than the chanting of the Hare Krishna. So this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is not something like people think, oh, these ISKCON people, they have started. No, this is there in the Shastras, because you can't do anything. See, what is religion actually? Religion is actually following the instructions of the Shastras. Why? So that you can understand the Lord. And then what happens after you understand the Lord? You start serving the Lord with love. Okay, so what is actual religion is loving the Lord, right? So how does the process start? How do I understand that is the Lord? We are so fortunate to be part of this Vedic literature where we don't even have to say God. We know the name of the Lord. So we are so fortunate. So we are not saying Bhagwan, Bhagwan. Bhagwan has a name. What's his name? His name is Krishna. So in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, in this Kali Yuga, what should we do? The chanting the holy names, and there is no other way. Okay, and it's so sublime for this age. The chanting of the holy name is meant for this age, and it's sublime, and from all the literatures, all the Vedic literature, there's no other way better than this. Okay, and why do we chant the holy names? Is because Krishna has invested all his energy. Okay, so it's when I say Krishna and Ram, all the energy of the Lord is there. It is the Lord himself. Like the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna himself, right? That's why Bhagavad Gita is worshipped. Wherever the Bhagavad Gita is kept, it is that place becomes sacred. Same way, when we chant the names of the Lord are so powerful that all the accumulated sinful desires that are there in my heart start getting washed, just because the names are so powerful. The holy names of the Lord are so powerful. And again in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila,
Harer Nama Iva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva Gatiranyatha.
In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself telling that in this age, Kali means age of quarrel and hypocrisy. At the drop of the hat, everyone is fighting. Okay, everyone is fighting. We are like dogs. Okay, if you put a group of dogs, even if you keep 2 dogs in a room, they end up fighting for no reason, right? So in this age, the people are so fallen that they will sit and fight. How in the houses they will fight, society they will fight, workplace they will fight. We are meant for fighting because our mentality has become so low. We're just like dogs. Okay, so in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, it's all hypocrisy, cheating, cheater and the cheated. Okay, all that is going on. So in this age, how do you come out? How can we deliver? Just by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And it is said 3 times. So why is it said 3 times? There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Because it's so important. Because it is so important, it is stressed 3 times that in Kali Yuga, only Hari Kirtan, okay, the holy names of the Lord, only that has to be chanted. And again, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is Shuka Muni who is instructing Parikshit Maharaj.
Kalirdonani dherajan astihi eko mahan goyuhu kirtanad eva kenashya mukta saigu paravrajet.
My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. It is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So this is Parikshit Maharaj. This is so beautiful. In fact, I urge people who are already, there in this Bhagavad Gita class to now progress to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is, it is narrated 7 days, 7 nights by Shuka Muni to Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj is the last emperor of the world. Okay, he's the last emperor, and after that, India was no longer one country. Then it got divided. Okay, so he's taking instructions from Shuka Muni about what is the duty of a dying man. All right, so Shuka Muni is narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days and 7 nights without taking a drop of water and not resting. Okay, so he spoke and Parikshit Maharaj heard, and this is the audience. Okay, the audience is, Veda Vyas, Narad Muni, everyone is there. All the saintly people of the world come just to listen to this narration. All right, and now what happens is, when Shukamuni is talking to Parikshit Maharaj, he also predicts about Kali Yuga. And he says, in this age, all the predictions are actually given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. How Kali Yuga, as it progresses, what all are going to happen. Okay. So one of the predictions he says is that, all these people, the lifespan is going to reduce and everything, all that. So when Parikshit Maharaj hears all this, he feels very sad, because he is the king. Now, king means he is responsible for the citizens, and he feels very sad. Look at all these people. They're going to have such a painful and miserable life in Kali Yuga. So he's so sad that what will happen to these people. And just to encourage him, Shukamuni is telling, oh, yes, Kali Yuga is so bad. But one thing, the best thing about Kali Yuga is, just by chanting Krishna's name, just by chanting this holy name, this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, people can be promoted to the transcendental abode. So what people had to do in Satyuga, that so many years of meditation and so much of expensive homas and yagnas and its elaborate worship from Satya, Treta, Dwapara Yuga, all the benefits can be achieved just by chanting the Maha Mantra, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They will get the benefit. So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam Purana. And so even in the 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yajnana Japa Yajyo Asmi. Of the sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names. Okay, so we have to chant the holy names. So now, why should we chant? Okay, so now we understood why should we chant. It is not that, Krishna is getting anything out of this chanting. We are benefited. Why? Because when we chant, we can come out of all this. My mind can be controlled. Right now, my senses are dragging me to do all these sinful activities, and I can't control, right? I can't control myself. I am helpless. So how do I make my mind strong, right? Just by chanting the holy names. So this we can do. So this is very easy. Anyone can do. So some basic do's of chanting. Do's of chanting is chant the Panchatattva mantra before starting to chant the holy, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we chant the Panchatattva mantra, that is Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shrivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this is the Panchatattva mantra. We seek the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates before chanting the holy names, because when we chant, we are not chanting with proper concentration. We are not chanting with proper consciousness. So, all these offenses that we are doing while chanting also is taken care of by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So we tell this Pancha Tattva mantra in the beginning. So once the class ends, I will just show you how to chant. So there is something called the head bead or the Krishna bead. So we tell this Pancha Tattva mantra once on the head bead, and then there are 108 beads, right? So then what do? We chant the Hare Krishna mantra on the beads. And how do we do it? We chant audibly. So we should be chanting loudly, not in our mind, because many times we think this mantra should not be heard by others. No, the louder I tell it, the better it is for me. It's not that we have to scream, but it should be audible at least to me. Why? Because when I chant, there are two things happening. I'm telling, right? So my mouth is engaged and my ear. Okay, so this is a process between the mouth and the ear. Nothing other than that. It is very simple. I have to chant, and my ear has to hear. That's about it. So chant audibly, loud enough to hear the mantra. And anyone who hears the mantra, when I'm chanting, I'm getting purified. And if I'm chanting, if somebody, my daughter hears, my husband hears, even the dog in my house, or the plant that I've kept in my room, or the ant or the mosquito in the room also is benefited, even though it does not know what is this mantra, right? Just because the mantra is so powerful that, like medicine. Now, I don't know what is Disprin, right? But just by eating Disprin, my headache goes away. I actually don't know the composition. I'm not a chemist. But just because I'm eating, I'm getting benefited. Same way, everyone, even we don't know the power of Krishna, but the names are so powerful that not only I, whoever is there around, even they get benefited. So mostly we have to chant audibly so that at least I can hear it. We should not chant very softly. But yes, suppose I'm gone to the doctor's clinic or in a public place where I can't chant loud enough, then I have to chant in my mind, maybe. So that is okay, but otherwise chant audibly. Then is pronounce each name distinctly. So it has to be done that way. Chant with respect, devotion, and concentration, because this is inviting the Lord to your mouth. The Lord is coming to your tongue. If I want to call even my rich relative, he will not come to my house. If I want to call the prime minister, forget it, never in this life, right? But just imagine the Lord of the universe has agreed to come to my mouth. Okay, I don't know about Krishna, but just by reading the Bhagavad Gita, I understand that Krishna, in this age, if I have to purify myself, because Krishna tells surrender, surrender, surrender. So the first principle of surrender is to chant his holy names. So when I chant, Krishna comes. I don't know. I may not understand, but Krishna comes because Krishna and his name are non-different. Okay. Krishna is the name itself is the Lord himself, right? So all the power that the Lord has is there in his name. So when he comes to my name, to my mouth, I should show some respect, right? So we should chant with respect and devotion and concentration. You can chant in any place, sitting, walking, facing any direction, because many times for so many other mantras, Vedic mantras, you can't do it at all times. You have to have your bath. You cannot do it when you have your periods. You cannot do it when there's a death in the family. You cannot do it when you're with your shoes on. You cannot do it in some other direction. So here, nothing. I don't even have to see which direction. I can do it sitting, talking, not talking, sitting, walking, without having my bath also. Okay, ideally, yes, have your bath, but if I have to sit and wait and have my bath, I may not do it, right? So forget all that. Krishna has made it so liberal. Krishna said, chant, because I have excuses. I will say, no, Krishna, I have not a date, so I will not chant. Today there's a death in the family. Today this is that direction, this direction. I can't do all that, right? So I will find excuses. Krishna is saying, no. For every excuse, he's actually countering it because he loves us so much. He says, finish, come out of this toilet, come out of this jail and chant. And you can get out only by chanting. So chant in any place, sitting, walking, facing any direction. I don't have to go to the forest. I don't have to go to a sacred place. I can do it anywhere. You can chant at any time, okay? However, it is recommended to chant during the early morning hours, that is Brahma Muhurta. So you can chant it. Ideally, it is very nice to get up in the morning at 3 o'clock and start your chanting at 3:30. That chanting from 3:30 to 6 o'clock is beautiful. 3:30 to 4:30, 5:30, 6, so nice. And after that, the world gets up, right? So then all these, activities start. So the Brahma Muhurta is very nice, the time before sunrise, very nice for spiritual activity. So best is to do it then, but Krishna, now I'll say, no, Krishna, I'm doing night duty, I can't chant then. So then I can't. So then that means, yeah, you know what to do, I can't chant. But Krishna says, no, it's okay. You can chant in the afternoon, you can chant in the evening, you can chant in the night, you can chant in the morning, anytime. So Krishna is telling you can chant anytime, all right? So he's made it very easy for us. You can chant either before or after taking bath. So best is to have your bath and do it because you feel fresh. But okay, for whatever reason, it's very cold, the current is not there, the geyser is not working, forget it. It's okay. Sit and chant. Chanting is more important. Okay. And it is recommended to keep chant by keeping a count. So preferably on a Tulsi Mala having 108 beads. So the Tulsi Mala, usually all the malas have 108 beads. And you do it in a Tulsi Mala if you're following the 4 regulative principles. And Tulsi is the greatest servitor of Krishna. So when we chant on the Tulsi bead, it is even more nice because the chanting, because Tulsi Mata, even her blessings are there because she's so dear to Krishna, right? But then you can't touch Tulsi if you're not following the 4 regulative principles. So if meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, then you should avoid, you should not touch, but otherwise you can. And you can do it in any malas because a lot of people have this, oh, can I do it with the counter? Yes, you can do it. Can I do it with some Rudrakshi mala, whatever mala? Any mala is fine. The whole idea is to chant, okay? And we chant to keep a count. So I'll show you, once this class gets over, the Sakshi Mala also, how to keep a chant, this thing of the chant. Count of the chants. Now, some don'ts, very basic don'ts. One should not chant only a portion of the mantra. So please finish the whole mantra, Maha Mantra. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. One should not chant on the Krishna bead of the Japamala. Krishna bead is the head bead. So this is the 109th bead, okay? So you don't chant on this bead. And other than that, you can chant, you have to chant on all the other beads, okay? So this full mantra makes one bead, okay? And then you go to the next one. So like that, 108 times you keep telling this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then one should not chant while reading a book or newspaper or watching TV, etc. Naturally, right? See, we know multitasking is good, but not in chanting, okay? So chanting, we have to give full devotion to that. And again, it is not considered good etiquette, right? If your friend is there and you're using your mobile. So here the Lord himself is there and you're calling the Lord to your mouth. He's coming and he has agreed to come to the tip of your tongue. and you are showing disrespect by doing all these other things. So we should know where to save time. Don't save time in chanting. It's a wrong place to save time. Okay, so while we're doing chanting, let us just do chanting and nothing other than that. Benefits of chanting. Okay, fine. All right. What will I get? Okay, if I chant. So freedom from the reactions of sin. Now we have done so much of sinful activities. We have studied the story of King Riga. He didn't do any sinful activity consciously. He just donated the cow. By mistake, the cow came back. He donated it again. Because of that, look at the punishment. So for every action that we are doing something, there is some reaction is happening all the time. And if we actually observe us, most of our actions are sort of very sinful, right? We may not agree because today all sinful activities are legalized. Okay, I can go to the bar, I can do anything that I want, and I can legally go. It is legal, it is allowed in the land, right? But Krishna's it's okay with the rule of the land. But according to the laws of Krishna, spiritual laws, it is considered sin. So it is not the rule of the land that is going to be, I'm going to be accountable for. I'm also accountable for the spiritual laws, okay, for Krishna's law, the spiritual laws, the material laws of nature. And they are very, very stringent because justice has to be given to every living entity, right? I can't get away. Here in today's earth, in India today, animals don't have rights, right? Only people are considered the citizens of the country. Where is the animal considered the citizen? They're not even considered citizens. But in those times, everything was considered, even the trees and the plants and the animals are considered, they had right? So up till Parikshit Maharaj, this Vedic knowledge was practiced, and it had. But even if it is not practiced, Krishna is not going to pardon us. So these material laws are very, very stringent. So every action that I am doing is creating a reaction, all right? And even when we think, there's so many sinful thoughts that are there in our mind, right? If someone actually opened our head and saw what we are thinking, most of us would be so ashamed, right? So much of sinful activities that we do, we think and all that. So then what happens? We get these karmas. So just by chanting, we are burning our karmas. Many people go to these Jyotishas and to show their horoscope and all that. Yes, horoscope is there. It's a science. But by chanting, I can change my karma. I can burn my karma. So that is Krishna's mercy. Okay, so freedom from the reactions of sin. Relief from unwanted drives and habits. So in our present condition, we are slaves to any whimsical thoughts and desires. Now, this person doesn't actually want to smoke, but what to do? His senses are dragging him. This person doesn't want to do this, but he can't help himself. So to come out of all these sinful habits, it is so easy if we just can chant. And in freedom from anxiety and stress, all of us, we are so stressed, right? Every morning, when the alarm goes, we say, oh, another day, right? And then we're just waiting for night so that we can again crash, right? And again, a new day starts with all the anxiety and stress. So we get freedom from anxiety and stress. There's peace of mind, happiness, real happiness. All our activities, we are searching for happiness. Ultimately, we want happiness, right? So the actual happiness only comes by service to the Lord, and service is by chanting. The first process of service starts by chanting the names of the Lord, and this is real happiness. And if you look at these people, it is not like they are posing for some photo, right? They're not like, oh, now we're going to click a snap to show happiness, so you're all going to jump. No, they're just doing kirtan, and this has been just clicked, right? So you can see this is not artificial, real happiness, right? So this is real happiness. You get this real happiness, and it is our right. It's our right to be happy, right? It's a right to be happy with Krishna. We can only be happy with Krishna. So that's why, we have to chant. Not only that, we get enlightenment. We might read the whole of Bhagavad Gita. Not a word will we understand, okay? Only when we chant the holy names of the Lord, slowly we get purified, and this message will be understood by us. Otherwise, it just becomes some sort of theory, okay? In practice, we can practice it only when we chant. The more I chant, the more I understand Krishna. Even if I don't read the Bhagavad Gita, if I just chant, I can actually understand the whole of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna is the first guru. He's sitting in my heart and he's guiding me. So Krishna gives us this enlightenment. So there are also, all these people, who have chanted, there's a whole lot of references of people who have chanted and have got it. So we're not getting into this, but basically in this whole chapter, advancing in Ashtanga Yoga. So Krishna says, about the 8 parts of yoga, this Ashtanga Yoga, and the different ways in advancing in that, and the stages of Ashtanga Yoga, all the 8 parts, and why to control the mind. And what happens to the unsuccessful yogi? He goes to the heaven and then comes back into a pious family or a rich family, or if he's even more advanced, he comes straight away into a transcendental family. And finally, Krishna says Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So we end with this. We are open to questions. Mataji, we have this thing. What shloka recitation or something? Or I mean, not shloka, kirtan? Or straight away questions?
Mataji,
No,
straight away.
Mataji.
Okay, okay. Then let's take a question straight away. Yeah. So you can raise your hands. Or you could type your questions. Before that, yes, I wanted to tell you about chanting. How do we chant, right? So see, this is the chanting bag, all right? So how this chanting bag is, is nice to have. Okay, if you don't have a chanting bag, it's okay. Why do we have the chanting bag? Is because the beads are very precious. Okay, these are very sacred beads, right? So we are chanting the names of the Lord. So these beads are not ordinary beads, right? Like you keep your gold necklace in the locker covered with some, nice muslin so that it doesn't get scratches and all that. This name, these beads are much more precious because we are chanting the holy names of the Lord. So it should not get dirty, right? So we put it in this japa bag, all right? So in this, what happens is there is the head bead, okay? So where is the head bead? Here. So it is also called the Krishna bead. So every bead will have this, okay? One extra, okay? So what do? We don't touch this with the, this is called the what? Pointer or index, right? So we don't touch it with the index, we chant with the others, okay? So we hold this and we say Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. That we tell once, okay? And then we start chanting, okay? So we take the first bead and then we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then the next one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the next one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. That way we go on until we do all the 108. Now, once you do the last bead, okay, what happens is again you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is your last 108th bead. Then again you will say the Panchatattva mantra. On the Krishna bead, we will again say Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And then the last bead will become the first bead, okay? And you will start the opposite way till you come again to the 108th bead, and then you say again the Panchatattva mantra, and the last bead will become your first bead, okay? And so this japa bag is very nice, okay? So it's got one big hole here. So you will put your mala inside this, and then there is an opening here, okay? So this is for the index, all right? I think we call this the index, I'm not sure. Okay, so you put this index out because you're not supposed to be touching. So there's a hole already there, okay? So you can put it out and then you can chant. Now what happens is once you finish all your one mala, that is 108, then there is something called the Sakshi Mala, okay? So the Sakshi Mala is very important because this will help you to keep a count as to how many you have done, because we have to do minimum 16, okay? 16 of 108. 108 like that, 16, all right? So once when we do this whole round 108, it takes around 10 minutes, roughly around 10 minutes. But as you progress, what happens is it comes down to 8 minutes, 7 minutes. For me, it is around 5 minutes, okay? So then you have the Sakshi Mala. So once you finish your mala, you can just pull it up. For example, for today, I have done only, I have 20 in this. So the 4, 5, 6. So I've done say 14, okay? So I'll just show you. So so first you pull up everything, and then once you finish your one round, then you'll pull this one down. Okay, so this becomes one round, 1 of 16. Then again you do your whole 108 Hare Krishna. Then this becomes the second. Okay, then you'll pull this down. So that way you can do minimum. How much we should do now? Okay, how much should I do then? Start off with 1. Okay, but bring it to 16. So 16 is minimum. All right. So 16 is minimum because people think 16 is maximum. 16 is not maximum. 16 is minimum. So when we do 16, we will see a much more the result is much more visible. Okay, yes, one also will have the result. It will not have effect. Even one mala will have effect, but 16 will have a better effect, a tangible effect. And see, it is like, this is for our own benefit. If it is like, it is more valuable than money. So if tomorrow someone says, you want 1 lakh in your bank or 16 lakhs. So when the provision is there that you can take 16, why not 16? And it's like, it's a medicine. This Maha Mantra is like a medicine. So if for a medicine, if I take the whole medicine, it is effective, right? But if I take the medicine and I divide it into 16 parts, and then I take that one small part, yes, it will affect, but It's very slow, right? So it's recommended is 16. Actually, it was 64. Okay. Prabhupada, when he went to the West, it is 64 because 64 is what we have to do. But then they couldn't do it. And they said, no, Prabhu, it's just not possible. Okay. He reduced it to 32, then to 16. Finally, he's gave it 16. Okay. So 16 is bare minimum. So we should do at least 16 every day. Yeah, and the whole purpose of this class is at the end, everyone should be doing at least one round. Okay, so I urge everyone, please at least start off from today and start this one round. If you're doing some other mantras, it's all right. Just add this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to your life. You can continue doing whatever other mantras you're doing, but just add this one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to your life. All right. And this is also for, again, one more thing I want to tell, for some of the devotees who are already chanting, there is this Mayapur Yatra, which Namanishra Prabhu told to tell. Okay. So people are going, until the 15th of September, I think you can book your tickets. So, we're going to Mayapur in West Bengal, birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if you are interested, you can actually get in touch with the admins and you can also book your this thing, okay, for that yatra. Yeah. So we are open to questions now.
Mataji, there's a chat. Vinod Prabhuji wants to know more about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the Lord himself. He's the mercy incarnation of the Lord who came 500 years back. Okay, he comes in the mood of a devotee. And again, in the Shastras, it is written. Okay, it's not like someone says, oh, because a lot of people say, oh, I am God and all that. No one can say I am God or I'm a representative of God. It is all written in the Shastras, time, place, So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction has been written already in the Shastras. Where is he going to be born? What's his color? What's his pastime? Who's his father? Who's his mother? So all this is there. And he comes in the mood of a devotee just so that people can chant. Now, Krishna actually is not as merciful as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Krishna in the 18th chapter says surrender. Okay, then I will take care of your sins. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just distributing. He says anyone just take it. This is like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this super discount sale of getting Krishna. Okay, so because otherwise there's so many, you surrender and all that, now surrendering, when will we surrender? But chanting anyone can do, right? So it is because of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy that we all have actually got this holy name. Otherwise, this holy name was not available. All right. If you see in the Shastras, this is not, all the mantras, it is all qualifications, time, place, and so much. So here, no rules, no regulations, just for anyone. So anyone who wants Krishna, he's given the love of Godhead. Okay, so this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came 500 years back in West Bengal in Mayapur to spread the holy name of the Lord. Yeah.
Mataji, Smita Mataji is asking, what is the significance of 108 and 16 number?
Yeah. So 108 is, there are many, this thing that, there are 108 Upanishads and all that is there. But basic is, that Krishna is, he had got this 108 and also these 108, principal gopis and all that, right? But otherwise, Krishna also had these 108 herds of cows, because Nand Maharaj was very rich. Okay, he had 9 lakh cows. Now to tend these cows, different varieties were there, right? So Krishna used to keep a count of all these different varieties of herds with these 108 beads. Okay, so that's one of the significance of the 108 beads. And why are we doing 16? Otherwise, like it is 64. Okay, we have to do 64. Okay, but Prabhupada, Prabhupada then reduced it, because Kali Yuga, what to do? We are all finding excuses for not wanting to do. So, okay, fine, last, and then 16. Okay, so 64, half is 32, half of 32 is 16. So that's the number that he has given. Yeah.
Mataji, another question is, do we need to chant the Panchatattva mantra while counting on counter or fingers as well? Or is it only restricted to Japa Mala?
No, see, it is actually, you have to do it every time, right? As soon as 108 gets over. So that's why the problem with the counter is you don't come to know when is 108 and when is the next round starting, right? So it's always nice to do it with the Tulsi Mala, because see, one more thing is with the counter, it's very mechanical, right? See, it's like eating with hand. So when you're eating with hand, all your senses, you're adding another pleasure, right? Another element is added. You can touch the food, you can feel the food, right? Same way with the hand when you're chanting with the Japa Mala. It is so much more pleasurable than a counter, because here you can feel the beads. Actually, what happens is, you will observe when you get your beads, your new beads, it will be very rough and rigid, rough, right? And then as you go on chanting, what happens is, the beads start wearing off. Okay. And then even when you're somewhere in between, where you are, where you are and how many more, approximately you come to know. So that's the beauty of, doing it, because you're adding another element and you're able to touch the tulsi beads, so, the process of chanting, the concentration also increases much more. But nothing wrong, with the chanter also, because it's okay. I mean, first is to do with the beats, otherwise with the counter. And in the counter, yes, you still have to do that Panchatattva mantra after every 108, but to keep a count may be difficult. So then what to do? It's okay, just go on chanting.
And Mataji, can we make our own mala?
Yeah, you make. Dhyana is basically to keep a count, right? Yeah. And you can order these malas, okay? I think you can order it from any temple near your place. The temples will have it. Otherwise, you can also order it from our temple, So I think the links have been shared and it's also there in the website. You can always buy it. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, my question is, while walking or sitting or doing anything, if chanting Maha Mantra, is it recommended to recite Panchatattva mantra every time?
Panchatattva Maha Mantra we chant after every 108. So even when you're walking, right, you can always have your japa bag, right? So this japa, that's why, this japa bag is very nice. See, you can actually, the beauty of this japa bag is you can wear it around your neck. All right. So this is there. And then also it's got a zip, okay? So you can put your mobile, or if you want to put some money, you can put it inside this, all right? So even if you're going out for your walk, so usually we carry a mobile or whatever, right? So you can actually chant when you're walking. So it's nice to chant with your mala only as much as possible. And so when you're doing it with your mala, automatically you come to know when the bead has ended and you can start off your Panchatattva mantra. But otherwise, if you're just walking without your mala and you're just doing something, then it's okay, because you don't have. So those are just extra chants that you're chanting, right? So then at that time, of course, you can't do the Panchatattva mantra because you may not know when your 108 gets over. So it's okay at that time.
Mataji, Monica Mataji says, we cannot have our japa bag in our office, right?
You can have it. Whosoever, I actually, we sometimes say, oh, we should not have it. Actually, what's wrong? You can have it. Why not? You can sit in your cabin and you can chant. But if your workplace is not allowing you that, so that's all right. Don't take it to your office. You can always, while you're driving, you can always chant, right? I mean, not with the beads, but you can just orally chant. While you're cooking, you can chant. While you're cleaning your house, you can chant, right? So, but then with the japa bag, with your japa mala, it's like, when you're focused, right? Like you get up in the morning and you want to do your 100, those 16 rounds, that time you do that. So then later on also when you're working and all that, every time when you're telling see, it's not about only doing it with the japa mala. The whole thing is chanting the names of the Lord, right? So we need to chant as much as possible. So when you're doing activities also you can chant, but naturally when you're doing some other activity, the concentration is not so great, right? So that's why we have to take out a little bit of time from our lives to chant. And many times we think, oh, 24 hours, it's too much, taking this 1.5 hours. Actually, we don't understand. It's a science. Krishna talks about time. Time is controlled by Krishna. So we have this 24 hours, right? And this 24 hours actually has to be used in the service of the Lord. And right now we are not able to do that much. So we are just taking this 1 hour for, Bhagavad Gita, and maybe, we can take out 1 hour for chanting or 10 minutes for chanting. But just because we have taken this 1 hour from our lives, or 1.5 hours, or max 2 hours, when you're doing 16, it is 2 hours. So when you take out 2 hours from your lives to chant, what does Krishna do? He expands time. This 24 hours otherwise is not enough. And there's so many problems that keep coming, right? So, there's so many hurdles every time. So my time gets wasted. So when you are focusing and giving 2 hours for the Lord, that is Krishna's mercy, right? What he does is he actually takes away all these, problems. So what happens is you get more time. Otherwise, I go to my office and then what happens is some problem for which I may have to waste my whole day. And for that, we don't mind. But taking 2 hours for Krishna becomes difficult for us. But if you take out 2 hours for Krishna, what does Krishna do? He makes the balance 22 hours so beautiful that, you feel, oh, this is worth spending. I just give to Krishna 2 hours and 22 hours he's taking care of, right? So it's actually a science, So once we do it, we will understand it. So, try to take as much time. This 2 hours, in our morning, if you can sleep early and get up a little early and you can finish your rounds, it will be so beautiful. And if you can take it to your office, why not? You can take it to your office and you can actually chant, because maybe not right now, but later on, who knows, you get your separate cabin, you get your corner, the corner office, and during your lunch break, you have your lunch and then you still have, whatever time you can sit and chant. Why not?
Mataji, listening to Ramayana and Gita or chanting, what is more precious?
More precious is chanting, because see, when the whole of Ramayana, how many times Ram will come, right? And how many times Krishna will come, right? So not as much, but here directly, so many times. In fact, what is Hare? Hare means Radha Rani. So you're directly addressing the energy of the Lord. She's the intimate devotee of Krishna, and Ram and Krishna are the Lord's name. So, and what does this Maha Mantra mean? This Maha Mantra means, oh Lord, let all my energy be used in your service. Okay, so we're taking the names of the Lord to engage ourselves in his service. So this is what the mantra means. So, when you're directly taking the name of the Lord, there is so much more power, right? See, all the Vedas are equivalent to one Lord. When you say this whole of the Vedas is to glorify and understand Krishna, right? Now, when you read, according to the Brahmanda Purana, when you read the Vishnu Sahasranamas, now Vishnu has got 1,000 names. So when you read the Vishnu Sahasranamas, it is equivalent to one Ram. So when you say Ram, it is equivalent to taking 1,000 names of Vishnu. And when you say one Krishna, it is equivalent to saying 3 Rams. Okay. So this mantra is very powerful. So it is very nice to read the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, very purifying, but not at the cost of chanting. So if I have to choose between the two, actually I should do both. But if I have to choose any one, then definitely the chanting. The chanting is the most important activity of our lives. After 16, if I have to read the Bhagavad Gita or chant, naturally chant. Do my 16 rounds and then read the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Otherwise, if I read the Bhagavad Gita also, I will not understand. So this chanting is the most important activity of our lives. And this has to be supported by different aspects like reading. So then I read the Bhagavad Gita, then I association, books, books are reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and associating with devotees. So all that is there. That is also very important. But the most important is the chanting of the holy name.
Done, Mataji. No more questions in the chat.
All right. So
yeah.
Okay, this is a nice question. Should we chant? We should start the chanting process once we have overcome all sinful activities, example, meat eating? No, because if we wait for our sinful activities to get over, forget this birth. Millions of births we will not be able to, because see, we are so small, right? Our senses are more stronger than us, right? Mind is so powerful. We can't control our mind, right? So by the time I wait that I'll become pure, actually I become pure by chanting, okay? And then the sinful activities go away. My sinful activities go away and then I chant, never will happen. I start chanting and as a result, my sinful activities go away, okay? So this is very important to understand. So it's not that, oh, I have to give up meat eating, I'm drinking, I'm doing this, I'm into illicit sex and I'm gambling and, I'm a meat eater. It's all right. We all know that's what Krishna is telling. He knows us, right? That's what Kali Yuga people are doing, these 4 sinful activities. Krishna is telling, the Lord is telling, okay? So he knows our pathetic, miserable condition. So what should we do then? Just chant. So when we chant, what happens? The anarthas, these desires. See, why are we doing all this? Because there's a desire to enjoy, and we don't know any better pleasure, right? So when we chant the names of the Lord, it's not that we are going to getting the pleasure immediately, but the desire, these anarthas are going. So naturally, this desire to eat non-veg will go away. Otherwise, how do I stop eating non-veg? I remember my position, when we chanted, because we were non-vegetarians, we were eating non-veg and we were chanting, okay? Because they didn't tell in the temple. Namanishra Prabhu never said, okay, leave all this and do it. And they don't even ask, are you eating non-veg and all that, right? No, just chant. Because you're chanting, your meat eating will go away. And I can tell you, because, we used to eat so much and we just stopped. We're vegetarians now. We don't eat onion and garlic. Forget vegetarians. We eat only prasad now, as much as possible, at least, at home, so it is only prasad. Even our dogs, everyone gets only prasad, right? So, and that has happened only because of chanting. But it's not that we ate prasad and then we started chanting. No, we chant and then then this happens. So Prabhupada, when he went to the West, he didn't tell them anything. He just told them to chant, right? So, and you can just imagine, they are so much more addicted to all these sinful activity than us, right? Because the opportunity to enjoy all these senses are much more there. And if you see, they eat only non-veg, right? So, so it's just chanting, because the holy names are so powerful. Krishna is so powerful that all this just goes off. Yeah.
Mataji, it's 7:24 and one last question is remaining.
Yeah.
In Mayapur temple, Bhagavad Path is going and I am doing my chanting by doing pradakshina, which is important.
I don't know that. I didn't understand the question. If you can unmute yourself, Prabhu or Mataji, I don't know.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I stay at Mayapur. And,
oh my! Oh God, you're so blessed.
And
Yeah.
actually, it's been 1 year. I have done my Gita course from Whitefield, Bangalore.
Uh-huh.
So there, Harikshetra Prabhuji, he is the head, and Kartike Prabhuji is our course instructor. So there, like I have been taught that you are only called parent if you teach your son how to break. Your kid to break the circle of birth and death, and that time only you will be called parents. So that stuck in my mind, and also like Kartike Prabhuji also told me that like. You can put your kids to Gurukul. That's the only best place where like kids will be learning Gita, because Shastra Gyan they will be having, because the thing what we learn in today's life, the chemistry, the physics, the maths, it's all bogus, and it's that there is no proof. The scientists, they have just said it for the sake and for the name's sake. So there is no proof. But Prabhupada, he has already told in his book, or it's given in this also, Bhagavatam also, what is sun, how the planets are going around. So there the real proof is there, and there the kid will be getting main knowledge, not this chemistry and maths, which are done for the printed in the book for the sake, namesake. So even that was like I want to put my son to Mayapur only. So like it's only Krishna it has been only 1 year that I have been in the ISKCON Gita course. In the month of in the Janmashtami last year, I have started my course in lockdown, and this time I'm here because of only Gita and Kartike Prabhuji. The amount of knowledge I have got, I used to think I am in darkness, and now I think literally there is huge to learn, and even I want to give knowledge to my son also the same. So like it's only Lord who has called us. Since we are Baddhaji, I didn't know what I was doing there. So my husband has removed all the, Lord Krishna has showed us all the path, and my husband has removed information about the school and everything. So my son is into Smiths now. uh, and actually due to COVID, we I can't attend. I don't go to Mangal Aarti and Sandhya Aarti because of COVID, because there's a huge rush.
Yeah.
So I go only at Sayan Aarti, where I enjoy a lot the whole thing, and literally I can see Krishna, feel Krishna, and pray to Krishna, and I look at him, I have a glance for hours. Like hours, and like it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when before Shayan Aarti, there is a Bhagavad part. So I do japa. I keep on doing japa, and I do the pradakshina. So when the Bhagavad part is starting, so I should keep on doing the pradakshina and do the chanting, or I should sit and hear the Bhagavad and do the
Yeah.
chanting later.
Yeah. You are a very advanced devotee, so I don't think I'm there in a position to tell you. But see, I'm sure that you will be finishing your 16 rounds, right? So once you have finished your 16 rounds, then if there is a Srimad Bhagavatam class going on, please sit and attend the class. Because the Bhagavatam class is nothing but Krishna, right? So the Bhagavatam class is very important because we get this knowledge about Krishna, right? So it's very important, and this also helps us in progressing, because it's not some myth, right? So this actually reinforces, it's not some sentiment, right? Because this is knowledge. So this knowledge is a book of knowledge. So you should actually sit and listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam class, because that's so rare, to get to hear the Bhagavatam is so rare, right? So it would, because if you have done your 16 rounds, please attend the Srimad Bhagavatam class, because you can't do both, right? Chanting and so Bhagavatam.
Correct. Right.
Yes. So that is so nice.
See, if I don't finish, like I have one round remaining, so
you can still finish your one round, somehow listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam class, because the Bhagavatam class, that too, the Bhagavatam, when it comes from the mouth of a devotee, is so purifying, right? When we ourselves open the book, we may not understand. So when it is coming from the mouth of the devotee, it becomes very purifying. So please listen, and it's about Krishna, right? So it's very, very purifying. And that 10 minutes you will still get Krishna. See, Krishna expands time. So Mataji, that one round, you will get somehow to do it anyway, while walking back, to your place or something, so yeah. So we're all coming to Mayapur. Our tickets are booked, so hope to see you. I don't know. We are starting on 25th of October. 25th, from 25th to 30th of October, we are there in Mayapur.
Okay. Mataji, I have no idea. Yeah, 25th, my son's, he has his exam. He's
Yeah.
into the international school. So he has exam from that time. So I'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully we'll meet. And just to
No.
tell, yeah, and I just want to tell, the people who are listening, devotees who are listening, Mayapur is so beautiful, and they have a Gurukul. Okay, so it's not that they're studying only about Krishna; they're also studying about these material things, because all this material knowledge is important as a skill, right? You have to keep your mind and body together. So they are taught that, but they're also taught Krishna consciousness, right? So it is so beautiful. I had some devotees who came to our house, and they were amazing. We think, oh, they've gone to the Gurukul, so they must be somewhere, ancient. They're so smart. Those two devotee girls were there. I can't tell you. And we are thinking that we are sending our children to these regular schools and they are getting smarter. These are so smart. Even material knowledge, they know so much better. They had that. They were so small. They came for Janmashtami and they know the mridangam. They knew all these instruments. They're so bold and confident. They were foreigners, but still they came and they were just, this whole Mangalore crowd, audience of I think some 2,000 or 3,000 in this Tame pie. They were standing and they were leading the kirtan and they were telling others to join. And not only that, in the free time when they're at home, they had some assignments from the schools and all that. Someone is into painting and all that, and some, whatever schoolwork, because they do study physics, chemistry, and everything, because what to do, you have to go with these rules of the material world also, and it's so nice. So they know this, but on top of that, the most important knowledge is that they get about Krishna. So it's so nice. And Mataji, you must be really fortunate, and your son to be born to a family. So this is called Mataji's son is done so much pious activity that straight away he gets it, right? We don't know when we'll get all this. So that is called Krishna's mercy, so it's so nice. So thank you so much. Yes.
And one more thing, Mataji, my father is born at Navadvip.
Oh, so you're all devotees only. Mayapur means devotees. Okay, so that's all. So they're all. So that is called devotee. That is called good phala. So they're already. So little bit pass mark is left. So this Janma back to Godhead. Okay, so right now back to Godhead. They're living in Mayapur. So Mayapur is so beautiful. I just request everyone, if possible, we go to holidays here, there, everywhere, right? So Mayapur, and this time I'm taking my daughter. My mother can't come. My husband is a little busy, so I'm taking my daughter because my daughter is finishing college, and I don't know where she'll go for a post graduation. So I'm just telling before because I don't know where you will be, and even she's very interested. So at least one visit to Mayapur, because Mayapur is so important for our spiritual progress. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
And one more thing, Mataji, I want to share. Like, I'm not a devotee. Mataji, can you hear?
I can hear. So yes, that's another thing. They'll say they're not a devotee. Okay, if you're not a devotee, you can't stay in Mayapur. So yeah.
Actually, I have not taken Diksha, so I'm not a devotee.
So it doesn't matter.
So actually, Mataji, what has happened in the during the Jhulan days, just few days back, like on Friday, like I had very bad fortune. I was very much upset. There was a like boundary made for the devotees and the non-devotees, and I was so upset. I could not put the jhula to the Lord Krishna and Radha Rani. I was very much upset, and I came outside the temple and I told Lord Krishna, that I'm not that sad in my life as I am today. I could not reach you and I could not put jhula to you. So I was so sad, and I had tears in my eyes. And like the next day, my husband, he was in Kolkata. He came to Mayapur, and like I could put the jhula. It was very auspicious. The on Sunday, it was Saturday. Then on Sunday, it was more auspicious than I have ever thought. Like I could put jhula. I was standing where Lord Krishna had a swing. I mean, he was put on swing. I was there standing for, like few minutes, and I was staring at Krishna and I was thanking him so much. Then the mercy was so much of Lord Krishna that I could, that day it was Balram Jayanti.
Yeah.
So I could make us this mala also. I mean, the decoration mala for the Balram. So I thought, I mean, like, Lord Krishna, what is this? I mean, like, I can make mala. I could stand near you and I could see you so much nicely for many minutes. And and the more merciful was that day, after the Sayan Aarti, I got 2 spoonful of kheer. which is offered to Madhav and Radha, Madhav and Ashtasakhi. The kheer which is made for hours and hours, it is boiled, and the same kheer is offered to Lord Krishna every day. That kheer on the day of Jhulan, I got it, and I was like, oh God, I have never ever expected in my life that I will get that kheer which is offered to Radha, Madhav and Ashtasakhi for the Shayan Bhoga. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Krishna is very merciful, right?
Very,
Krishna is
very.
most merciful. Yeah.
Very,
Krishna is
Mataji,
most-
I'm
and
so
he's just
happy.
looking at a heart. He's just looking at a heart, not these external qualifications, So
Yeah, Mataji. Very, very, very merciful. Very, very.
yeah.
I'm
Yes.
very
Thank you
much
so much.
overwhelmed. And yeah, thanks, Mataji.
Thank you so much for being a part this thing. It's so nice to have devotees. I mean, such exalted devotees. Just by staying in Mayapur to stay is not possible actually. In fact, to stay in any holy dham, Vrindavan, Dwaraka, Mayapur, and all, it's very only the most fortunate. And people like us just go there for a short time. That too, if you are very fortunate. Because even if the offenses, because when we are so Baddha Jivas, we go and make offenses, right? So the offense made in the holy dham is even more higher. So for us, some 2-3 days, Krishna gives us some grace mark to go there, and because if we stay there, we will start doing our sinful activities even there. So Krishna says, you will accumulate more, but just to be able to go there is so cleansing. So I'm just telling this because maybe some of you are planning to go. If you are planning to go, please make it, because Mayapur is so beautiful. Mayapur is so beautiful, and it's one of the most holy places, right? In fact, before going to Vrindavan, we should go to Mayapur. And so it's very nice. So thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing. And thank
Mataji,
you.
one more thing I want to share.
Yeah.
Actually, one devotee had visited our place here in Mayapur, and he told me that like staying only for one night in Mayapur is not a joke. Like nobody can stay if there is no punya karma, there is no sukriti. So he told me that you are staying in Mayapur, that at least you are staying here. That means like staying only for one night, it takes so much of sukriti.
Yeah.
If you are, it's like you are doing 1,000 of Ashwamedh Yagya.
Yes.
It's that fortunate. Like
Yeah.
we
Yes.
are.
We just to go there is so difficult for us, So yeah, you're very, very fortunate, and we're so fortunate to have you in the class, Mataji. So thank you so
And
much.
one more thing, Mataji, I have a 3 BHK huge flat, like it's 1900 square feet in Bangalore, my own flat. So I've left that place and I'm staying in 2 BHK or rented house.
Yeah.
So I have to. I'm doing so much of sacrifice. I wanted to stay and I came here to Mayapur.
Yeah. So yeah, in the path of devotional activity, we have to be very serious. We have to be determined, right? Come
Right,
what
right.
may, I want Krishna. Yeah.
Right.
Krishna shows us mercy. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a
Hare-
lot. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So Mataji, Shilpa Mataji will close, and Harshali also. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll end the meeting, right? So tomorrow
Okay,
we meet
Mataji.
again. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. And we just end. Yeah.